Hi there, ladies and gentlemen. This is your neighborhood friendly Oxhorn, and here we are with part 2 of the great Fallout 4 happiness experiment. If you watched my last video, you'll remember that we debunked a lot of myths pertaining to how settlement happiness works in Fallout 4, including that decorations do not improve happiness on the wall, generator noise and turret noise does not decrease happiness, and a bunch of other myths like that. But I read many of your comments, and you guys gave me some great ideas on how I can improve upon this experiment. So with this video, I'm starting completely fresh with a brand new settlement. This is called Longfellow's Cabin. It's new with the Far Harbor DLC, and as you can see, I have 0 settlers, and I did that on purpose so that I know that my results aren't being impacted by anything else. The way I made sure that this settlement had 0 settlers is I moved old Longfellow to a completely different settlement before I re-recruited him as my companion. That's right, he counts as a settler for this settlement when you first get it, so if you want to run this experiment yourself, you do need to move him to a new settlement before you run this experiment. So, since we have 0 settlers here, I need to move a settler here from another settlement before we can begin. So let's go to Sanctuary and get ourselves a new settler. Alright, here we are. Let's find an unassigned settler using the settlement management software. Alright, here are all of my settlers. Let's find one that is unassigned. There we go. This one is a synth. Now we want to try this without a synth first before we try it with a synth. So let's remember this one, but move on to a different candidate. Here we go. This one is not a synth. Let's mark this settler so that we can find her. Alright, let's go get her. And there she is. Let's move her to old Longfellow's cabin. Okay, there we go. Let's meet her there. Alright, here we are. The settler hasn't arrived yet, but we've already learned something interesting. Let's take a look at our workshop. The settler isn't even here yet, but it says that our happiness is 20. We've gotten 10 happiness just by actually having a settler here. So let's find a chair and let's wait 24 hours or so for the settler to get here. Okay, full transparency. Something happened. I don't quite understand it, but I moved that one settler from Sanctuary and she never arrived. I waited 10 in-game days and she never arrived, and I went back to the Commonwealth and I couldn't find her. So I went ahead and moved one settler from Dalton Farm, which is another settlement on this island, to here, and here he is. Okay, so the settler made it. This settlement now has one settler, and we can start to do some experiments. So let's see how that changed our happiness. Okay, so the happiness is at 20 still, and the target happiness is 20. So we learned something here. By simply moving one settler into a settlement, you gain 10 points of happiness. Now, the settler does have a bed, so let's do something about that and see what happens. Okay, since this bed came with the settlement, I couldn't actually scrap it, so I had to use console commands to disable it. But as you can see, the bed is now completely gone. It's in the red. Let's check our settlement management software. Holy cow. Alright, so removing the bed means the happiness target is at 0. Absolutely 0. Alright, so let's run another experiment. Let's create a bed, but let's leave it outside. Let's see what happens. Let's start with this, with a regular bed. Alright. Alright, now the happiness target is 10. So, without a bed altogether, the settlement loses 20 happiness. When you put the bed outside, the settlement only gains 10 back. Let's see if putting this bed back inside increases it to 20. And it does. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. That's fascinating. All right, so there you go. That is confirmation that sheltered versus unsheltered beds does matter. You got to put your beds inside structures. So that begs the question, what is considered a structure? I'm going to go ahead and make a couple of framed houses here on this settlement and try putting the bed underneath all of them to see what works. I'll be right back. Okay, I've got a few different structures here so that we can test out the different types of quote-unquote shelters that you can build in Fallout 4 to see if it matters. So I've got my bed. Here is a prefab house. Let's put it in here and see what the result is. 20 happiness. Fantastic. Looks like the prefab houses work. Now, let's try something a little more drastic. This is a floor and a roof. It has absolutely no walls, but it does have a roof. Let's see if walls matter. And walls don't matter officially, ladies and gentlemen. Happiness target of 20. Nice, nice, nice to know. All right, these are actually floors. These are upper shack floors that I've placed on this ledge, and these are officially floor tiles instead of ceiling tiles. Let's find out if floor tiles matter, or if you have to have ceiling tiles in order for it to count as a roof that counts as a shelter. Look at that, 20 happiness target. Good to know. All right, let's do two more here. This is a oh, and I can't actually place it under there. All right, let's try this one, and I can. All right, so half of the bed is on the tile and half of the bed is hanging off of it. Does that matter? Let's find out. 20 happiness. Great. So it looks like all that matters is that you have a roof. So let's try sleeping bags. Somebody in the comment section of my last video said that you had to have full beds. Sleeping bags don't really count. And so let's try sleeping bags. First, a sleeping bag in the house. Happiness target of 10. Happiness target of 10. What? What? All my settlements have sleeping bags. No, 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 no. This cannot be. This cannot be. No, 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 no. I don't want this to be true. I do not want this to be true. Oh, let's put this in the main cabin. Please don't let this be true. If this is true, then I have to go through every single settlement and remove my sleeping bags. No, no, no. Don't let this be true. I'd have to come back to every single settlement that I have and change them all from sleeping bags to beds. Please, please, please don't let this be true. Oh, oh, thank goodness. Whoa. Whew. Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I'm confused now. I'm really confused. So it says happiness target of 20. And all that changed is I put the sleeping bag in the pre-built structure and not in these structures. Now, what might have happened is it might have taken a while for the settler to become assigned to the sleeping bag. That's probably what happened. So let's try this once more. Let's try this once more. Now that the settler is assigned to the sleeping bag, does putting the sleeping bag in the pre-built structure... 20. Oh, thank God. Oh, I was scared there for a moment. All right, let's test with it outside. Here it is. Out under the stars. An unsheltered bed. The settler is still assigned. Let's see if there is a happiness detriment. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We have proved conclusively that a bed out under the stars is an unsheltered bed. And this bed does not give your settlement as much happiness as it could. It gives your settlement half of the happiness that it could. We also proved that the bed type does not matter. You can use a sleeping bag. You can use a regular bed. All right, we've made some progress. Next up, food and water. So let's remind ourselves, food. It says that it has food. It says 0 food and yet it's not red. So let's find out why. Now, we don't have any supply lines, but let's, and I'll prove it to you. So go to tab, let's go show supply lines, and I don't, there are none. The option is not, the option doesn't even exist because I don't have any supply lines. Okay, so let's take a look at our workshop. Any aid? Yes, there's a bunch of meat in here. Let's take it all. And let's check. All right, look at that. The food is red. Let's see if that impacted happiness at all. Happiness target of 20. So there's 0 food, but the happiness target is still 20. All right, so one of the experiments we wanted to know is whether or not you actually had to have the settler assigned to food. That is, whether or not the settlement is producing enough food of its own, or if the food found via supply lines or in the actual workshop is enough. According to this, it looks like the color of food in your UI will not turn blue unless you actually have food in there. So just to verify, let's place some carrots in here. All we're going to do is place carrots. I know I have some carrots in here. Yeah, a lot of carrots. So 101 carrots. Let's check this out. And it's no longer red, but did that impact happiness? No, it did not impact the happiness target. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the carrots that I have in the workshop, and I'm going to plant the carrots and assign a settler as a crop and see if that helps. Okay, so I have 12 carrots down here because each carrot produces 0.5 food and each settler can farm 6 food. So I've got 12 carrots down here to allow the settler to farm the maximum amount of food that it can. So now we just need to assign the settler to the carrots.
Okay.
Food 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This resource is now assigned. Let's check our settlement management software. Happiness target 30. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. We just discovered that, yes, even though putting food in your workshop will turn the color of the ticker from red to blue, it still doesn't matter. It still doesn't matter. It still doesn't count towards your settlement happiness. In order to improve happiness, you actually have to have a farmer working the land. The settlement has to produce its own food. So for those of you who have been setting up settlements to just be farms, and you've been hoping that the supply lines were enough, yeah, it looks like the food is getting to the workshop and they're not going to starve, but it does not improve settlement happiness, and the settlers are going to continue to pester you about it. Look at that. All right, now it's time to do water. So, settler happiness is at 30 now. He's got a bed, he's got his food. Let's put down a water pump. 3 water is plenty for that settler. Let's see where this brings us. And our settlement happiness target jumped from 30 to 60. Holy cow, that's dramatic. All that's left to get this settlement up and running is to get some defense. So the rule of thumb is you add your food to your water and you double that. I'm sorry, you add your food to your water and that's the amount of defense that you have to not get a penalty, a happiness penalty. So in this case, 6 plus 3 is 9. So we need 1. Just 2 of these machine gun turrets should get us to where we want. So remember, the last time we checked it, happiness was at 60. Let's see what it is now. And we've got a happiness target of 80, ladies and gentlemen. It worked. Now we just need to find ways to improve settlement happiness. Let's see if adding a bunch more defense does anything. So we have all of the defense we need. Let's see if just going bats not bonkers with defense helps. All right, we've got 95 defense for this really tiny one-person settlement. That's way overkill, way more than we need. But did it affect happiness? And no, it did not. I think that's fairly conclusive. You only need just enough defense to meet your water plus food combined. Anything more than that, it may help during an attack, but it doesn't improve settlement happiness. Okay, now on to cats and gorillas. Now, sadly, I couldn't build a gorilla trap. It's just not available. I thought before shooting this video that I could build a gorilla trap, but look, I'm in small cages and I only have cat, mole rat, and mutant hound cage. I can't even build a dog cage. Into medium cages, feral ghoul, insect, and super mutant cage. So I don't know if this is a conflict that some of my other mods are having right now, or if this is due to Far Harbor that you just can't trap those kind of creatures here. I'm not sure, but sadly I cannot run that experiment like I wanted to. But what I will do is run the cat experiment. So let's do a quick save, and let's remind ourselves exactly what that happiness was at. Happiness target is 80. And after we open up the cat box and get the cat, our happiness target changes to... Well, that was quite an epic little pounce. All right, it changes to 90. What? Nah, what? Oh my gosh. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. What on earth? One cat brings your happiness target to 90? I can't believe what I'm seeing. That can't be right. That can't be right. That can't be right. Let's see here. One settler. Happiness target 90. I added one cat. You saw me add one cat. You saw me check the happiness before I added that cat. Alright, so I'm conjecturing now, ladies and gentlemen, but the only thing I can figure is that the happiness that animals bring scales by person. So, oh, I'm getting it now, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry it's taken me this long. So, let me just brainstorm here with you. So, I remember reading that based on some data that somebody mined from the Fallout 4 files, that each animal that you bring into your settlement gives you 10 happiness. Now, what we just saw shows that the cat gave us 10 happiness. The thing is that when I've done this experiment in the past, each animal only gave my settlement like 0.25 happiness. But all of those settlements had many more people. This settlement only has one. So what happens, and I'm just now realizing this, what happens is that each dog or cat will increase your settlement by 10 for every person. So if this settlement had 2 people, this cat would only give me 5 happiness. I would need 2 cats to get the full 10 happiness out of this cat. Alright, there's only one way to prove this, and that's to assign somebody else to this settlement.
Hey.
Go on. Got something you need done?
It's time for you to head home.
Good luck.
Let's just confirm that he is a member of this settlement now. Alright. Let's add a bed for him so that we know that we're getting appropriate data. All right, we've got enough food, we've got enough water, we've got enough defense, we've got enough beds. We have 2. We were at 90. Let's see. And bingo, exactly as I predicted. It went from 90 to 85. The happiness that pets get you are diluted by the total number of settlers your settlement has. It'll only give you 10 happiness if you have only 1 settler. But as soon as you have 2, the cat only gives you 5 happiness. Wow. Alright, I'm no mathematician. I can't do math in my head right now. But there you go. There are the long-awaited pet results of the great Fallout 4 happiness experiment. I'm so glad that I'm doing this now. I learned something I didn't know before. Okay, the only experiment we have left to do is to see if synths decrease the happiness of a settlement. So I put down a third bed, so we now have 2 sleeping bags and 1 bed, in preparation to move a synth to the settlement. So for those of you who know, robots will decrease the happiness of your settlement. The reason for this is because a robot's maximum happiness is capped at 50. Now, if you have a settlement with only 1 robot, the maximum happiness that settlement can have is 50. If all of the robots in your settlement... if all of the settlers in your settlement are robots, then the maximum happiness that settlement can have is 50. I have 2 settlers here. The maximum happiness, the target happiness for this settlement is 90. So if I send a synth here, and if synths penalize happiness, then that should cut the happiness bonus by a third. So let's see what happens. Now, I can control other settlements from this one, thanks to the settlement management software. So let's go through the process together. All right, here we are in the interface. Let's view a different settlement. Let's go to Sanctuary Hills. All right, so here we are in Sanctuary Hills. Now remember that we saw a settler who was a synth. It was the very first unassigned settler that we found. Here she is. And she's not a synth. All right, I'm going to have to find it. There we go. This settler is a synth, as you can see right here. It says synth, yes. Remember, our target happiness here at Longfellow Cabin is 90. Let's move this settler to Longfellow Cabin. All right, let's close out of the software to make sure it happened. Okay, let's check our settlement. And there we go. It does register. Look in the top left-hand corner. It says we have 3 people. Our happiness is climbing. We've got 3 beds. We've got 3 water. We've got 6 food. Plenty of food and water for everyone. Let's see if our happiness is being diluted. Drum roll, please. It does. It does. The happiness target was 90. I moved 1 settler to this settlement who was a synth, and it went down to 83.3. Okay, according to this initial data, a synth will deplete the happiness of your settlement. Oh my gosh, the railroad is wrong! Okay, well, there are a couple of things that we need to do to make sure that these results are accurate. So let's take that settler, move her back to her original settlement, and then let's move a human settler back to make sure that it's not simply having more settlers, and that it truly is the nature of the settler, the fact that she's a synth. So let's do that right now. All right, we are moving her back to Sanctuary Hills. Now let's manage Sanctuary Hills and take another settler from Sanctuary Hills and move that settler to Longfellow Cabin, but let's make sure that that settler is not a synth. Here is an unassigned settler, and she is not a synth. Let's move to Longfellow Cabin. All right, let's exit the software and make sure that she's moved. Okay, we still have 3 people. Even though I moved 1 and recruited another, we still have 3 settlers. Let's see what happened. And it's 83.3. This proves conclusively that whether a settler is a synth or not doesn't matter. The fact remains that the happiness target has gotten less because the happiness you gained from the cat was diluted over 3 people. That's what it was. That's what I was slow to grasp. Sorry, you guys probably caught on to this faster than I did. But it's good that we did the full experiment just to make absolutely crystal clear that the synth didn't matter. The fact that she was a synth had nothing to do with settlement happiness. It was the fact that the happiness derived from the cat was spread across 3 settlers instead of 2. That's what brought down the settlement happiness, and it took me a while to get it. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Conclusive proof that settlers do not drag down settlement happiness, even though robots do. After the surprising results of having the cat in the settlement, I began to wonder, is the happiness generated by shops also spread between all of the different settlers in your settlement? So I went ahead and loaded a previous game save, and I assigned Longfellow to the settlement as a settler, and then I assigned a 3rd settler to this settlement. And this settlement now has, but it still has 80 happiness. So let's take a look here. 80 happiness. We have 3 settlers. All 3 of them are sheltered in beds. We've got plenty of food, water, power, and defense. 2 of the settlers are unassigned, which proves that assignment of settlers does not improve or decrease happiness. So let's find out how much it increases by assigning Longfellow to the shop. All right, this resource is now assigned, and he should make his way over to the shop shortly. There we go. Let's take a look at our happiness. 86.67. So we got 6.67 happiness from that shop. I have a sneaking suspicion that the true happiness generated by this shop is being diluted. So let us move one of our settlers to another settlement and see what happens. Here's the first one working on food. Here's old Longfellow working on the shop. Here's the unassigned settler. Let's move this settler to a completely different settlement. Verify that it worked. 2 people. Great. Let's see where our happiness is headed. Happiness target 100. 100, ladies and gentlemen. Holy cow. We were at 86.67. The difference between 100 and 86.67 is 13.33. which conclusively proves that the happiness generated by that shop was spread over 3 settlers, meaning that the total happiness gained by the shop per settler is 13.33 times 3, equaling 39.99 or 40. This shop produces 40 happiness per settler, which is 4 times what a cat or dog will generate. But like cats and dogs, the happiness generated by shops is diluted over your settlers. Meaning that with 3 settlers in your settlement, a shop that was originally worth 40 happiness is now only worth 13.33 happiness per settler. Holy cow. Well, we also learned something. The key to getting 100 happiness is to have 1 settler and 2 cats. Absolutely fascinating. Wow, that was a lot of fun. We learned a lot about settlement happiness today. I hope you enjoyed this latest edition in the Great Fallout 4 Happiness Experiment. I'm sure there are a lot of other experiments that we can do to answer some of the most confusing questions about Fallout 4's settlement system. If you've got some more ideas of some experiments that I just didn't think about or that I have not run yet, please let me know in the comments below. I will do those experiments, I promise, because this is a fascinating topic to me. I love lifting up the hood and just figuring out how this whole thing works. Thank you for sticking with me. I hope this was informational for you, and I hope it helps you with your own settlements. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. I need to grow my YouTube subscription base so that I can continue to produce these Fallout 4 videos, and be sure to show up to my weekly show, Scotch and Smoke Rings, every Thursday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific Time. It airs on Twitch TV. Just Google Twitch Scotch and Smoke Rings and you'll find it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.